Compression isn't magic, it's just changing the volume over time. That's it. Imagine having your hand on the volume control, turning it up and down very fast. That's all a compressor's doing. There are two types of compression. Take a look at this. The top one's the original and the bottom two, the two different types of compression. See how one makes it more plucky and one less plucky? With a fast enough attack time, it'll make the sound less plucky, and with a slow enough attack time, it'll make the sound more plucky. Critically though, this is important, it's all relative to the sound. And so in one example, maybe 10 milliseconds is considered slow, but on a different example, 10 milliseconds may be fast. So if you're compressing a range of things like a track or maybe a drum loop, you may be making some things more plucky and some less plucky. For each sound, some attack times will make it more plucky and some less plucky. But multiplier, what's the attack time? Let me explain. So simplistically, a compressor works by turning things down. The sound comes in, when it goes above the threshold, the compressor turns it down, and the speed at which it reacts to this is called the attack time. If the attack time is 0, the compressor reacts instantaneously. And so as soon as the sound's above the threshold, the compressor turns it down. But if the attack time is slower, it takes time to react. And so think about this visually. To piece all this together, let me tell you one more thing. And that is, for the fast attack time, I've turned it up. After compression, it may have looked something like this. Remember, normal compressors turn things down, so the compressor turns it down. But then, of course, we can turn it back up. There's a button to do this called Make Up Gain, but as I explain in my course, it doesn't work at all like you expect. I mean, there is some logic to how Make Up Gain works, but it's a bit stupid. Borderline useless, and so it's best to do it manually, actually. Anyway, the big idea here is the importance of attack time and how non-standard it is. Let's say we set it at 10 milliseconds. If we put this on some sounds, it'll make it more plucky, and on other sounds, less plucky. And not to mention, it's for different compressors. 10 milliseconds means different things. It's not literally 10 milliseconds, it's just a number. Compressors don't really work as you expect. I mean, even in the description I just gave you, that's not technically true because of the neon stuff. It's not literally that above the threshold. It's almost all compressors start compressing before it gets to the threshold. But anyway, that's going way down the rabbit hole, the tangent. But if that sounds interesting to you, I did a course on it to learn everything you need to know about compression from the basics. What is it? What does it do? How does it all work? What are all these words? What is a compressor? Why do we use it? Multiply keeps telling me that compressors don't work because you tell them to. What's he on about there? I explain in the course. For example, sometimes, I mean, you may know, for example, the higher the ratio, the more the compressor turns it down. But in some compression situations, it doesn't do that for reasons I explain. Why do you need to compress? And when? And how should I do it? And all these questions. If these are questions you have, do see the course. It's on Groove 3, just Groove and then the number 3. Just type it into the Google and you should see it. I think the course is called Dynamics or Compression or Dynamics, and my name's Multiplier, so I'm sure you see it. It's everything you need to know, from the basics, starting right at the beginning, through to the most advanced ideas, such as knees and like, do you need a plug-in compressor, and sort of when would you compress and why? It's a complicated subject that's often talked about in completely incorrect terms, but it's totally understandable. But importantly, you do need to go through all the steps, starting with the most fundamental ideas and building it up sequentially. I mean, as you probably realize from this video, I'm telling you an important concept, but to fully explain the story, you need to spend an hour or so really laying everything out, giving you diagrams and explaining how it all fits together, pieces and stuff. I mean, Release, there's of course a video explaining why we have that and how to set it and so on. My name is Multiplier. I will catch you guys on the flippity flip.